Good afternoon. My name's Danny Smith, and I'm coming to you from Oklahoma City. It's a beautiful day here today. I hope it was nice there today, too. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm kind of glad to have some nice weather. I decided to get this nice, cheery background out. I know with the weather, the way that it's been, um, it's something to look forward to. And I'm looking forward to spring, and I'm looking forward to this new school term. I know a lot of you are going to be in this for the first time, and you're going to make some good friends. It's going to be difficult, but you're going to have people that will help you. You'll have students, you'll have mentors, and you'll have coaches. So there'll be a lot of opportunities for help. You're going to learn things faster than you ever dreamed that you could. And hopefully you'll retain it and get that job that you've been looking for. I know that's what we're all after, is to improve ourselves, our station in life. So as we get to talking today, it looks like they changed up. I took this class last year, so I'm familiar with it, but they've changed some things. And I think it's going to definitely be for the better. As we start looking here, one of the first projects that's a little bit more difficult is the Pixel Art Maker project. The first one's not bad. I mean, you can probably knock it out without any trouble. This one will give you a little bit more trouble because it's JavaScript. When I took it, we did it in jQuery, which that's neither here nor there, but I really think it's better that it's going to be in JavaScript. The whole industry is not using jQuery as much, so this is going to be better that you're going to be focusing more attention on it. You can use the newer version of JavaScript, which is better. We were still using the older version. So the curriculum has just taken a big improvement. So where we kind of were ones that were experimented on, you're going to pay the dividends of what we went through. So as we look through here, we're going to see this README. And you're going to laugh at the documentation being as important as it is, but don't underestimate how important the documentation is on these projects. The graders are going to pay a lot of attention to that, and you may have your project kicked back because of insufficient documentation. And before you get mad, there's a good reason for that. When you're out working in the field, if your boss or your coworkers can't pick up your project and look at the documentation and figure out how to work on it, there's a problem. The people that excel are the ones that go the extra step or take that extra step and get it right the first time. So getting something that makes sense and helps them to understand what's going on helps everybody. So what I did is I went ahead and added all the deliverables that you're going to be doing to this front page, so we know right off the bat what you're supposed to be doing. And really that's not a whole lot, but that's all you really need on this one. It's just not a big issue. This program, there's not a lot to it. There's basically one JavaScript program. But before we get too far, I'm going to take it aside and we're going to talk about installing Git. The first several chapters was talking about using Git, and I strongly encourage you to use that even in this project because it's difficult to learn, but Oh, it helps you so much. I don't know how many times I've heard students lose their project because they didn't have a backup. What is Git for? It is that backup. So it will save your bacon. It's something that you really need to learn. I don't care if you use a GUI or if you do it by the command line. I think you would be better off if you learned how to do it by command line, just because if you do it that way, you will always be able to work whether you have a GUI that you're used to or not. So I'm opinionated there, but it makes a difference. Okay, here there's the Windows version and the Mac version on this page. It's easy to install. The difficult part is a little bit more difficult once you get it installed and understanding how to do it. And we'll have another lesson later on talking about that and going through it. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up on it prior to going forward, that this is going to be important and that you really do need to know it. You can, it appears, do this project online through the web interface. It's up to you if you want to do it that way. It may or may not go faster that way. I think you would learn a whole lot more by doing it on your own computer and using Git and building those skills that you're going to need in the later classes. And I'll tell you a little secret. The classes get harder as you go along. And I'm going to have more time up front than I am toward the end. So if you take advantage of my additional time and learn Git in the beginning, you're going to be better off come the end of the class when you're struggling on the more difficult parts, already knowing Git and not having to learn it then. So that's just my 2 cents and kind of my pet peeve. So as we go forward, we're going to look at the design for, or actually the designs.js, and this is the one and only JavaScript file. As you see, I put quite a bit of documentation in this file as well. I added all of our deliverables at the very top. That way, as we go through and complete one, you can just check it off. As we go farther down here, I'm using one of the new ES6 features, having an IFI wrapping around all of the code where you don't have to worry about namespacing. You say, what is namespacing? Well, you remember where you used to have to add prefixes to all your code so you wouldn't have to worry about collisions? That's basically what it is. It's a little bit more advanced than what you need to worry about right now, but I went ahead and added it myself just for that reason. Another thing that I think makes it easier is if you put all of your selectors together and you set up, basically cached selectors where you can use them as name selectors later on in your program. I didn't go ahead and put all of the code in here because I knew that you're smart and you'll figure it out yourself. This is not that difficult, so it's not going to be difficult. So now we need to start thinking about the program itself and what we want, how we want to arrange the code to work. So what we've got here, we've got to worry about getting a couple of values from input, basically a height and a width. So that's going to be the inputs coming in. We're also going to be getting a color. So we need to figure out how to arrange all of this. Well, the only thing that they have given us so far is one function, the make grid. They said that's what they recommend using. I'd say that we should break it up into several different functions within make grid to make it a little bit simpler. For the first part, we need to make sure that when we call make grid, it doesn't do the default action that it normally would. We're going to need to get the size of the grid, and we're going to need to probably start out clearing the grid, and then we're going to build that grid one row at a time in a loop, and you can choose whatever loop that you want. So each one of these lines correlate to a function. And as you go through, we've basically lined out what our program is going to look like just by analyzing how we're going to lay it out. And at the very end, we're just calling init. We've got a function here that we're going to actually put the bootstrap code in that will call the whole thing. So this is just a little teaser of what you're going to be looking at in this program. I hope it kind of gives you an idea of what to do when you get ready to do it. So good luck and happy coding.